And now we can get started. Okay, social media for beginners. Let's just get into it. So today I'm going to break down the different social media channels, and you'll see why it's important that we understand that social media, you can't just treat it as like this big bubble of Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, like all of this in one. Let's kind of burst that bubble and break it down so that we're not going into these platforms with kind of like our own idea of how it runs, but we understand really like how to best use the platform. Then we'll talk about creating an account. I'll go through the steps, picking a username, picking your profile picture, really that basics. We'll talk about what to post first. I get this question all the time during my consultations. We start talking about marketing and they start saying like, I just started my social media page. I don't know what to post. What should I post first? I will answer that question. Then we're going to talk about defining your language. You'll see why that's so important, why it's good to kind of go into a mindset of how am I going to communicate with people through language instead of just how we normally talk. We'll go and talk about social media ads, boosting content, and then analytics. And I want to bring this up. Analytics is not just for, big accounts that have 5,000 followers. Analytics are for everybody. It's a really good tool. So we will go into that. Just stay tuned. Okay, let's start with the first one, which was breaking down social media channels. So oftentimes when clients come see me and they talk about social media, they kind of talk like I'm just making accounts everywhere. Like they will make a Facebook account, an Instagram account, YouTube, maybe even Twitter, which is now X. They'll have a LinkedIn. And oftentimes, instead of it being helpful, that actually ends up stressing out the owner because now they're going, I have to manage all these accounts. This is a little crazy. So let's kind of go through how to have these accounts in a smart way by first understanding what these channels even really are instead of just Instagram. So breaking it down quickly is who and why are people going on these platforms? So Facebook, you might see some data from Facebook that says that the largest age group is young people. While the answer might be yes, the truth is that when I was a teenager and Facebook was a big deal and it was coming out, all my friends and I, we all made accounts. We all have accounts, but we don't go on it regularly. I barely check Facebook. I only check it for work, really. A lot of my friends have just abandoned it, have deleted their accounts, have moved on, have moved to Instagram. So while the data for Facebook might say like it starts at 13 or 14 years old, the truth is that you want to look at who's the most active, who is logging in the most on Facebook and spending the most time. And that age group is more the 30 to 70 years old. It's the millennials and older who have more incorporated it into their day-to-day life and are using it regularly. And then the other thing is Facebook is used for a specific reason, which is connecting with friends, family, and community. You don't go on Facebook to look up a business, you go on Facebook to connect with your friends and family. So there's a way to kind of use that in a smart sense of if they're going for this, how can that business fill that response? Next is Instagram. I think we all kind of know this. It's one of the youngest demographics. So you're looking at that 13 to 32. It's very young. This is the other thing. People are not opening Instagram to research or to look at stats. They're opening it because they're waiting in line for coffee or they're at a doctor's appointment or they're on the bus. It's to cure boredom. That's why we're opening it. We're opening it to be entertained, to kill 5-10 minutes, and then we end up scrolling for an hour. But that is really the purpose of it. It used to be more about connecting with friends. That was why people got Instagram. People still say, I'll follow you. But really, Instagram has grown into a much bigger world where now a lot of businesses are on it. It's one of the biggest ways to get your business known through reels and ads and posts. We'll dive more into that. But just think about that. It's a younger audience who are looking to be entertained and to cure boredom. LinkedIn, your largest group is at 25 to 34. A lot of people who are finishing school, finishing their post-secondary, they started their career, they're making a LinkedIn page and being active. It's specifically for professional networking. It's to connect. A lot of people use it to announce they got a new job or a new opportunity, and then people like celebrate them. But it's all about that professional networking. TikTok, I get a lot of questions about this. Should I have a TikTok account? If your age group, your demographic is 13 to 32 and they're young, then yes, it would be a good decision. But again, TikTok is very similar to Instagram in the sense that it's for entertainment. You're going on TikTok because you're bored. One of the things I do is when I come home, I sit on my patio and I scroll on TikTok for about 20 minutes before my husband comes home. It's just my way of relaxing. And then X, also known as Twitter, is again, you're looking at that 18 to 34. A little bit older, but not too old. They're kind of like in that middle ground of Gen Z and millennials. And Twitter is really like opinion focused. It's all about showing your point of view. So that's where you see a lot of discussions about politics and social events and pop culture. So I love pop culture. I love watching, the trending show or whatnot. And I like to go on Twitter and then read how people are reacting. Like last week, it was the big Survivor finale. So I went on Twitter and looked at what was trending, and it was Survivor. And it was fun to read people's comments about the show. I'm not going to be touching on Twitter too much during this presentation, just because it is so opinion focused. Brands use it in a very different way than most people here would. And it's also just maybe not as popular in Sudbury for a business to have Twitter. The reason being is that Twitter is less community, so it's a lot harder to connect with your local area. It's a little bit more of a like putting something out there and seeing what happens. So just that's why I'm not going to touch on it so much. Now, let's look at the pros and cons. So that when you're looking to open an account, you're going in with the mindset of, does this fulfill what my business needs? So Facebook, pros and cons. Pros, it's an older audience. If you're looking to connect with, the baby boomers, older generations, 35 plus, that's where they're going to be. There's a lot of doom scrolling. For those who don't know, doom scrolling is when you go on your phone for 5 minutes and then suddenly it's been an hour because you just keep doing this. That's that doom scrolling. The posts can be text only. You don't have to post a picture or a video to put it online. You can just write a text. So that's pretty nice. There's a lot of community groups. You'll see downtown Sudbury, neighborhood groups, community groups with similar-minded opinions and ideas. So if you have a community group that's all about gardening and your business has to do with gardening, that's a pretty nice fit. It has the pros of having reels and ads. So you have that benefit of, you can kind of spread your message a little bit more. I'll talk about reels a little bit more later. The other thing is you can have direct links. So if you put a link in your text, the person can actually go and click it. That is not the case on Instagram. It's only on Facebook and LinkedIn. And then again, because you can do text only, you don't need photography. You don't need to worry about it because if you wanted to just say, hey, quick update, we're closed today, you could do it without doing an image or a graphic. So it's a little bit easier. Some cons is information is stumbled upon. It's secondary. Because people are going on Facebook for that community, connect with friends, connect with family, they're not going there for information. So when they're doom scrolling, they're going, oh, what's this? I didn't even know this was here. And then they're finding that information. So that's just something to know. You cannot share featured news articles. So let's say your business had a grand opening, you got an article in the Sudbury Star, you can't share it on Facebook or Instagram because they came out with a new rule a few years ago that was news articles could not be shared because there was such a traffic for fake news and it was going everywhere. So Facebook and Instagram just shut that down. It's buggy. If any of you are content makers, you've definitely run into issues where there's been strange things going on. I see a lot of content of creators like kind of talking about their worst part of their day is opening Facebook because it's buggy, but that's just how it is. The other thing is you have to follow somebody to tag them. So for instance, I do a lot of posts about other businesses. So whenever I tag them, I have to go make sure I'm following them first to then tag. Not that that's a big deal, it's just kind of an additional step. Instagram, pros and cons. Pros, it is made to post a picture. You cannot post on Instagram without posting a picture, which means that photography is incredibly important. The good news is that while high quality photography is really popular, you can also post a meme. Memes are very big on Instagram. They do well, so you don't always have to have like the best picture in the world. You can have a low quality meme that you post and it'll do just as well. It is definitely built for a younger audience. Like if I take my mom, she could spend hours on Facebook and 5 minutes on Instagram. So you're definitely going to have a younger audience. So if that's your demographic, it's perfect. Again, you get doom scrolling that just nonstop. You have the opportunity to do collab posts. You can do this on Facebook, but it works really nicely on Instagram. That's where instead of tagging the person on a post, you set them as a collaborator. The other account has to accept it for it to go through, and then the post will show up on both your accounts as if it's shared. So at the top, it'll say, like Regional Business Center and Sudbury Tourism. And then if I go on our page or on Sudbury Tourism, the same post is there with the same likes, the same shares, the same comments, everything. It's a really good way of getting your content on other people's pages and sharing audiences. Another thing is Instagram has the possibility of going viral, right? You can put a post, you can put up a video, and there's a chance that it'll spread. You don't see that so much on Facebook. That was something that used to happen more in the early 2010s. It's not so much of a thing now that something goes viral on Facebook. It usually starts with either TikTok or Instagram. You have trends that you can follow and participate. Oftentimes, Instagram is joked as kind of like the last place to get the trend. They usually start with TikTok, but they still exist. It's still a really good way of getting your information out there by participating. I'll kind of get more into that later. Another pro is that you can pin 3 posts. You can pin on Facebook, but that's again, it starts to get a little bit buggy and a little weird sometimes. Instagram is really easy. I think you can only do it through the mobile app, not through the desktop. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. But what's nice is that when you go on your account, you can pin the top 3 posts so that when somebody goes on your account, that's the first thing they see. So I do this regularly all the time. I always have 3 posts pinned, and it's usually our calendar. So I just posted yesterday our June events. It's usually one that has to do with like applications or events or something new that we've launched. That's how I pick what pins to post. Something that people want to see the events very quickly. So if you're a restaurant, you might have like your menu is pinned and your hours are pinned. The other thing is you have stories. So those are those 24-hour posts that you put through the story. The thing is that you can highlight them. So in your account, you can say, these are the ones I want to not expire, so that on your account, somebody can hit the like highlight button and all those stories will come up. I have them set up for us where it's little marketing tips and tricks. So it's a quick thing that you can do. You can save it. If you need help with it, let me know and I can give a little demo. But that's something that's really nice too, that they don't have to just last 24 hours. You can kind of bank them with the highlights. The other thing is the reels. I'll touch more onto that, but that is a huge thing with Instagram now. They've really taken over having reels. A lot of people will post their TikToks and on Instagram. That way they have both. Reels is also just the word that the social media use for those types of videos. It's a video. That's what it is. Some cons is again, information is stumbled upon. They're going there to be entertained. They're going there to cure boredom, not to necessarily find information. It is starting to change a little bit where now, like, if I want to check out a business, I might not look them up on Google first. I might look them up on Instagram first because I want to see their account. I want to see their vibe. I want to see how they engage. So it's stumbled upon, but less so than Facebook. Again, you can't share news articles. You would have to probably share it as a screen cap, which might not look the best. You also have the issue of there's no links in the captions. So if you put a link in your caption and you post it, it will show up as just regular text. You can't actually click on it. Not very fun. It forces you to put your links in your bio. I'll get into that later. But it's just a bit of a downside. And the other thing is that because the website is focused on photography and videos, you have to have high quality images. There's a big difference between, going through and seeing a really beautiful picture of food and seeing one that's, shaded or low quality and pixeled. Like, it's just the nature of the app that photography is really important. So it does take a good quality pictures. LinkedIn. Pros and cons. Pros, it's a professional audience. You're connecting with fellow professionals. You can showcase your network really easily. It's excellent for announcements, like you hired somebody new, you started a new business, you're expanding, anything like that. It's wonderful. You can do blog posts through LinkedIn and you can share news articles. So it's really good for if you're a professional and you're looking to network with other entrepreneurs or other businesses, it's a nice way to do it. The cons is really just not all businesses or owners have an account. It's possible. And the followings are going to be much smaller. Where Facebook, it's really easy to grow. Instagram, it's easy to grow, to get 5,000 followers. LinkedIn, it's much slower progress because it's just a different platform. TikTok, pros, it's the youngest audience. So if your demographic is, 13-year-olds, less and more, it is a good place to go. Doom scrolling is huge. Virality is huge. That is often the group to get the first to the trends. They're often the ones to start the trends. I also like to call it the Wild West. So with any videos, whether it's TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram, I call it the Wild West because you don't need to be following the person to see their content. So like if I want to see content from Beard's Coffee Shop, I need to follow Beard's Coffee Shop. If I go on TikTok, any business can show up. You don't need to be following somebody to get their content. So that's why it's kind of the Wild West where you can throw something out there and it can go global. And that's why it's really easy to go viral. The other thing with it is that it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get posts that are the most recent. They've changed things now where you could get a post from a month ago. So you don't even really need to be super current with all your posts because your previous posts are also still circulating through the system. Quality is also a little bit less important. TikTok is really about humor. It's about having fun. So there's a lot of memes, there's a lot of craziness, and if the content's funny, the quality doesn't really matter. Sometimes the quality being poor actually enhances it, like it makes it like a little bit less serious. So it's a really good place to go if that's your style. Some cons, has to be a video. Has to be a video, just like Instagram has to be a picture or a video, TikTok has to be. Graphics only will not do as well. I see businesses and nonprofits try to do this all the time where they make a graphic and they put a little animation and they post it on TikTok and they cross their fingers. And then they're frustrated that it's not getting the engagement that they would have liked. It's just because that's not what TikTok is for. TikTok is so strong with entertainment and having fun that graphics they just don't do strongly. Newsletter is my honorable mention because I know that's going to be a big question of, we have Instagram and a newsletter. What about the newsletter? So, pros and cons here too. Pros, it's a direct line to your audience. It's basically like picking up the phone and calling them because you're sending it directly into their email. Instead of them having to go on Instagram, find your account, read your stuff, they open their email and you're right there. So that's really nice. It's a great way of sharing event calendars. If you have a lot of events or a lot of new products, it's a really good way of sharing a lot of information at once. It does bring a level of credibility. A lot of big businesses have a newsletter. So it's kind of like if you have it, that makes you feel kind of big and like you have something to say. It's also a good way of sharing any exclusive sales. So sometimes, you get an email and it's like, because you're a member, you get 10% off or 20% off or a pre-sale invite or an event invite. So you do have an opportunity of kind of like encouraging those customers to come back and retain them by having a newsletter and sharing exclusivities. Some cons: email fatigue. Honestly, people are so tired of being on their emails. It's associated with stress, emails and work, school and work. Like it's just how it is. So something that you might notice is if your newsletter's not doing great, it might not really be your fault. It might be more that people are just tired of emails. So some businesses have started branching out differently where they've dropped the newsletter and will instead have a page on their website that has all of their events, exclusive sales, things like that. The design is incredibly important. There's a big difference between, getting an email that's just text and getting an email that's really well designed. So it does matter. The other thing is that people have to sign up. You cannot just take a list of emails from your clients and throw them on your newsletter. They need to consent to it. So it does make that a little bit harder where the other person has to reach out to you to be put on the newsletter. Okay, so pick the right platform for you. You don't need to have an account on every single thing. Pick the ones that make sense for your business. So for Facebook, older audiences focused on their community. Instagram, younger audience really just looking for a distraction. LinkedIn, professionals building their network. TikTok, youngest audience looking to be entertained. So with your business, think about which one do I fit the best in, and then I'll show you how to create good content for those demographics and for those platforms. I'm just going to check my time here. Oh, I got to go faster than this. Okay. So creating a new account. I'm going to use Instagram as the example because that's what most of you, if not all of you, will be doing with your business. So step one is your username. Usually it's your business name, but what if there's a business with a similar name and services? Or what if it's taken? Remember, you can add little things, add like Beard's Coffee Shop, Sudbury. Those are little things that might help you distinguish, you from other accounts. It'll help you find a name that isn't taken by making it just a little bit more specific. But my big thing is it easy to remember and spell? There's nothing worse than when somebody gives you a name and they're explaining it to you and you're like, wait, how do I even spell it? Try to make it as easy as possible. When it's like Two Ghost Tacos Lounge, easy. Sola Supply, easy. Think about, can people spell it correctly, usually on the first try, and that it's easy to remember. So just put that in mind when you're doing a username. If your name isn't taken and you're able to do Cult of Vintage, bless, great, fantastic. Don't worry about the rest. If it's taken and you have to add something, just be smart about it. That's all. Your account bio. So this is a maximum of 150 characters. It is very, very small. So you want to use that bio as best as possible. Use it to showcase your unique value. Put it in there. So I put the example of what ours is and our information. So ours is your one-stop source for information and guidance on starting, expanding, and operating a business. Short and sweet, 150 characters exactly, and explains what we do very quickly. Don't put your links necessarily in your bio. There are spots for your links and for your contact information to go that's already built in. So you can see here, this part, this is where I have my email, our phone number, our location, and so on. That is where you want to put your phone number and everything. If you put it in your bio, it's just using up characters. That's all. It's just taking up room. So put it in where it should go to make the most out of it. Links too. Instagram does have spots for you to put links. Like it'll have like your website. One thing that a lot of people do is if you have a lot of links, like we do, we have links to book a consultation for our events, our applications, and so on. That's where you can use a website called Linktree. It's free and it's a place where you get one link that then when they click on it, they get this whole window that has all the links and you can design what that window looks like. You can see the analytics, so I can see how many people have clicked on it. You can remove them, you can add them, you can change the titles. It's really, really flexible and it's just the most popular way because it's also free. And then your Instagram has one link. That's where in Instagram, because you can't have a link in your caption, a lot of people will write link in the bio. That's where they're finding it. They're finding that link in this area. Your profile picture. Oh, most places, the like Facebook, LinkedIn, I think even YouTube, it's always in a circle. So make sure it fits. I This is a pet peeve of mine, but when you see a logo in a circle and it's cropped weird and you can half read it, makes it a little bit difficult. So if you can, try to find a simplified version of your logo if you can. So for us, we just have our icon. For Summer Company, we would just have it smaller to make sure it fits in the circle. Other places will take an icon from their logo, just like we did, and use that as their profile picture. Just make sure it fits in that circle properly. You see here, it's not being cropped. There's a nice space around it. It's well centered. It just brings a more professional look. So, one quick bit, who should have access to the accounts? I always say get the owner and one staff. The owner, I've met some owners that they monitor it fully, and that's great. That's their style. They like it. They like doing the marketing. That's for them. If it's not for you, if you are too busy or social media is just not so much your thing, give access to a staff member. So, for instance, my boss has access to our Instagram, but I'm the one that manages it. That allows you to have one person who you know will be monitoring it daily. They'll catch negative comments before they spread like wildfire, and they'll answer questions to make the sale. They'll be checking the DMs, checking the comments, so that if they see somebody who says, hey, do you have this in whatever, they can answer, and then that client is more likely to then purchase it because they got an answer so quickly. So it's a good way of doing it. It's a good way of monitoring everything and people having access so that, let's say a few weeks ago when we had that like water crisis where we had to the boil water advisory, you have somebody who you can be like, hey, can you put this out real quick while I run to the business and manage the on-site stuff? It's a little bit less pressure for you. And then too, if something does happen to your account, there's only two people who have access. That's it. So it's one of the two, or you've been hacked. So it's faster to find out what the issue could have been. Here you can also see when I was talking about earlier, the highlight stories. It's right here. So I made a little icon for it. It's saved. And then if you go click on it, you see previous stories. Okay, so from now on, now that you've made an account, I'm going to call you a social media critic because now, whenever you go on social media, I want you to be looking for what's working, what's not working. When you're going on your phone, think about why did I stop on this video? Why did I read this caption? What about it attracted me to actually stop and read it? And then look at why you skipped over other posts. Why did you go, no, 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 like not for me, not for me? What is it about those posts that turned you off? That will help you start thinking critically about what you yourself is posting on social media. Define your language and tone. So here's a great example of a trend that's been going around Instagram. It's a difference of how different demographics speak. So millennial PR team will say a half pound of hot and juicy, fresh, never frozen Canadian beef, blah, blah, blah. It's very long. And this is from Wendy's. And then the Gen Z person would say, it hits. Completely different tone, completely different way of communicating. That's why it's important to define your language, because the millennial PR team will attract fellow millennials. The Gen Z person will attract fellow Gen Zs. It hits is Gen Z, it connects with them. So you want to define kind of where you sit between, formal and casual, serious and playful, respectful and cheeky, kind of teasing, matter of fact and enthusiastic. This will define what clients you will attract, right? If you're always fun and playful and cheeky and enthusiastic, you'll attract that type of customer because they're the ones that are engaging with your content. If your content is more formal and serious, you'll be looking for those kinds of customers. I have a great example here. If any of you have ever seen Better Call Saul, this is a great example of a lawyer advertising his business through communication. So it's a TV show, for those who don't know, from Breaking Bad that follows a lawyer. Here we see an example of a billboard that is your typical lawyer billboard. It has, the business acronym, it has attorney at law, he's wearing a nice suit, his hair's done. It looks very serious, very formal. This would attract high income professionals. If that's what it looks like, that's what it attracts. It's formal, it's serious, it's respectful, it's matter of fact. This is me. Here's another example. This is a lot more casual, it's a lot more playful and enthusiastic. It's still respectful, it's not like teasing or poking fun at anybody, but it is a very different vibe from this one. So this is more likely to attract low income, everyday people, which was the point of this billboard. That's what he wanted. But you can see how even a lawyer, somebody who you would imagine would be very, very serious, can have an ad that does very well, fictionally, just by playing with tone, color, and the way he does things. So do with your tone, beginner friendly terms. I see this example of a car crash can be called a vehicular collision. Yeah, don't use that term. Call it a car crash. Use words that the everyday person would understand, because that's how you will like reach the most people. If people have to understand specifically what these words are to be able to engage with the content, it can just be a little bit more difficult. If you choose to have swear words on your Instagram, that is your opinion, not mine. But I do encourage you to censor them, because a lot of those swear words or more difficult words will hurt your algorithm, because Facebook, Instagram, they don't want that kind of content. So if you censor it, put a little asterisk instead, you won't have that issue. Show some personality. People are not here to just read, chat GPT captions 24/7 and such. Show some of your own personality as the owner. Keep it simple. Don't think about it too hard. Just be yourself and just be consistent with it. Don't rely too much on AI captions. Don't do sarcasm. Sarcasm is very difficult to understand in the digital because you can't hear the tone. So oftentimes people are trying to be sarcastic, can come off as rude because it's not being read the right way. Don't insult anyone. It's different from being cheeky, um, but just stay away from that and try to like focus on, good grammar, good spelling. Poor grammar and spelling might just make you look unprofessional. It turns people away. These are just some basics, but really focus on showing personality, showing yourself. Tailor your tone to the platform. Facebook and Instagram is about curing boredom. So you can be casual, enthusiastic, and have fun with it. Open till 4, come say hi. And those captions can be exactly the same because the groups are fairly similar in some ways. LinkedIn, it's networking, it's professionals. So focus more on being confident, insightful, and maybe just a little bit formal. So where here it says, we're rethinking how teams collaborate. Here's what we've learned. Very different. Um, TikTok, go even further down the casual and enthusiastic. Be snappy, be playful, be high energy. Just dropped new features, go wild. That's all you need. And that's why sometimes like being simple is really good. What should you post? Biggest question I get, what should I post first? Step one, What do the people need to know? What do they need to know to come to your business? What are the first 3 questions a customer asks you? For a restaurant, what's your menu? What's your hours? Simple. Chirotherapy. What are your hours? What are your services? Maybe what are your costs? So post those ones first, and these are great to pin. That's why I put, pin these comments. Your services, your menu, and your products. That's what you want to show. Next, your location and your website. People want to know where you are. How far is it to get there? That's what they're thinking. Tuco's has the option of delivery as well. So it's nice to know we're located in the Donovan, Kathleen Street. Come see us. These are our hours, blah, blah, blah. Can't make it in. Here's how you can deliver. That is a great way of getting your content out there. And then introduce yourself. People want to see the face behind the business. I know it's scary. I know a lot of owners don't like being on social media. They don't like sharing their face. But the truth is, that is a big piece as to why people will come to your business because they relate with your passion. They see how much you care. They see your story and they connect with it. We had a summer company student who did a bio for himself and talked about how he started his business because he was helping his grandpa with landscaping and his grandpa couldn't walk anymore. So he took on more of the projects and now he wants to help more people in similar situations. That's like a tearjerker. That will get people to go, oh my gosh, why would I go for a big company when I can go for this kid who's doing it with such genuine intent? It's good to show. Step 2, once you've kind of done those posts, build some engagement. Show sneak peeks, show before and afters, announcements, and recaps. I used to work at Habitat for Humanity. We were renovating our store, and I always wanted to post, can we post this? Can we post that? Can we post this? Because people were so excited to see the renovations and see what was going to happen. And I kept getting told no because it's messy, because it's dusty, it's in the middle of a renovation, and they didn't want to show that side. Was that a great idea? Personal opinion, no. Look at how Mozzie Sudbury has posted a floor plan. That's it. And it has 450 likes. Sneak peeks will get you there. They will build engagement. They will build interest so that before your doors are even open, you already have people talking about you. Then, now when Mozzie's does open, their grand opening is going to have a line at the door. No doubt about it because of how much of traction they've attracted before even opening. Before and after pictures and videos always do fantastic. They're always good to show. It shows your impact. Use it for announcements, new hires, new services, new products, everything like that. And then recaps. So recaps, I mean, like if you have an event, show it off. Show off what happened, post about it, share it with the world. For us, those are the posts that do the best. The recaps of, hey, we were here, hey, we were there. Our network loves seeing those. They love seeing us in the community. So do the same. Reels. Told you I was going to get into this a little bit more. Pros and cons. Because some of you are going, do I have to post reels? Is it a good idea? I don't have time. I'm worried. Here's the answer. Reels are fun, playful, and they're authentic. They're not about creating a commercial. They're about showing your personality and also meeting the people behind the business. It brings people into the behind the scenes, into the business so that they can see themselves participating. It's a great way of reaching non-followers because, like I said before, you don't need to follow the account to get their content. So it's a great way of kind of branching out a little bit further. Short and sweet does well. Don't feel like your videos need to be 2 minutes plus or even a minute plus. They can be 10 seconds. Like, it doesn't need to be complicated. And all you really need is your phone. Don't worry about getting a fancy camera or crazy mics or lights. Just start with your phone. That is more than enough. Some cons, of course, it requires editing, which might not be everybody's favorite. There are some platforms out there that are free that can really help you, or you can also just do it on your phone. It does require showing a bit of face. You need to show somebody at some point, and you have to plan it out. It's very hard to kind of take out your phone and just start filming. You kind of go with it with intent of today we're going to film behind the scenes. Okay, let's prepare the space. How do we want to shoot this? How do we want to do that? Doesn't need to be complicated. I have many times done reels just by going in my backyard and filming myself, taking a few B-roll shots and putting it all together, and that was it. Doesn't need to be crazy. Again, graphics aren't the most welcome. That's where people are going there to see real stuff. So don't think that posting a graphic with an animation will do the same thing as if you were showing your face and speaking to the camera. Showing your face, speaking to the camera will do better than the graphics. And sound quality is major. So if you are having issues with sound, an alternative that I've done before is if you have two phones, take one of the phones and just film, but hold it up and use it like a microphone. You will have to sync the two together. It's not as difficult as it sounds. You just go into a platform and you go audio, video, and then you just make sure they kind of line up. That's it. But that's a great way to get around it if you don't want to purchase a microphone. You would need a microphone if you're filming somewhere that's really windy or that's really loud. So we had some videos that I did at an expo. The expo's loud. It's very echoey and there's a lot of people. The only reason why we can hear what the interviewee is saying is because I had a mic on them. That's it. Or else you can't hear anything. But having that phone as a mic also is a great alternative. Best practices, just kind of overall with videos, is people can tell it's AI. If you want to use AI, that's fine. But just know that, like, no matter how good it can be, people will kind of note that. Some people like it, some people don't. But just know that it's not as sneaky as we think. I always encourage to do closed captions. It's something that the Gen Z is very used to. They watch TV shows with the captions. Many platforms can add these automatically. Like if I post something on Facebook, it'll say like add closed captions automatically, yes or no. So don't feel like you have to put in all that work. Repeat any key information in the caption, whether it's a video or a post. This is for a reason of accessibility of if somebody is looking at the content on their phone and they're hard of hearing or they can't see well, they will have a software on their phone that will read out the text for them. The thing is that if that text is in the graphic or in the video, but not in the caption, the software can't read it. It can only read written text. So I like to repeat those like dates, costs, times of like all those little details in the caption to make sure that if there are people accessing the content who do have accessibility issues, they can still get the information. Avoid live streams. This used to be quite popular, especially with Facebook, like going live. Truth be told, it's a little bit not a recipe for disaster, that's a bit harsh, but it can be because you just don't have control over what people are saying. So if somebody in your video says something that doesn't align with your business or is just wrong information, like we're open Saturdays and Sundays, but really you're closed on Sunday, you can't take that back. Like it's been said, it's been shared. It's also just not as popular, not as many people view it. So I say avoid it. It is good if you're doing like a contest, right? And it's like tune in, like we're revealing the winner. That's a good way of doing it. And then check the area before you start filming. You cannot just go anywhere and start filming. So like let's say a cleaning business that's going into people's houses, do not film inside the house without permission. So that's why I say just check what's around you, see what's going on if you need permission. If you do need permission, get it in writing, even if it's just an email, just so that like later on you're protecting of yourself and saying like, yes, I had written consent to film here. The other thing, avoid filming with garbages in the background, avoid showing like your home address. Like I never film outside of my house with my like house in the background because I don't want people to know where I live. So just check the area. Okay, this webinar will go a little bit long. I hope you guys don't mind because I got We got good content. I'm going to keep going. If you do have to go, feel free. I will be sending this recorded video to all of our participants. So if you need to go, don't worry. I will send you all. You can watch the second half after. For those who are here, let's keep going. How often should you post? That's another big question. I say maximum 2 posts a day, morning and afternoon. Because what happens is that when you put out a post, especially on Instagram and Facebook, it'll push that one. It's like, this is posted, let's push it. And it always prioritizes the most recent. So if you post 2 things within an hour, it'll showcase the most recent one, meaning your one that was posted earlier will get less engagement. So just space them out during the day. Give them enough breathing room to attract their own audiences, to get some engagement going, and then keep going. The minimum based on your capacity. There are YouTubers out there that post once a month, once every 6 months, and they still get tons of views and do excellent. Don't feel like you need to post every minute of every day, stories, reels, this platform, this platform. Do it based on your capacity. Because or else you're going to end up mostly just posting just to post, just to put something out there. And sometimes that content, because it's less thought out and it's more because you need to than because you want to, the content might not be as strong. Stay true to your brand. You don't have to post things that you don't feel like it attracts the right people. Be true to yourself, and you can schedule your content, right? Like if you know that you're going to have a Canada Day sale, see if you can prepare that in advance. And then that way on Canada Day, you're not worried about, okay, I have to make sure this is posted, blah, blah, blah. It'll do it itself. I will walk you through those steps in a minute. Content planner. This is an example of something that I use for our social media. I have my publishing date, so I know exactly when it's going up, the content title, the type. I always put the type because sometimes doing graphic after graphic after graphic after graphic gets really dry. It just is not as engaging. So by having the content type, I'm making sure that my stuff is always different, right? It's always like moving around. So I'll have a graphic and then a picture and then a reel so that I'm always diversifying. I have the concept, so I have the idea. So for this one, like Mother's Day recap here, Mother's Day recap, I know I'm going to need permission from the mothers and their children before I post. So before I would even take the picture, I'd say, hey, would you be okay if we took a picture and posted it on social media? They say yes, great, move ahead. If they say no, just go, okay, thank you very much, and leave. Don't push them. Don't try to convince them. It's not worth it. It's just going to create a tense situation. This is stuff that you can like schedule, okay, we did May long weekend. We know that we want to post this on Sunday. I'll schedule my post to go up on Monday, so Monday I can have my day off. That's a great idea. Showcase your staff, showcase like, okay, there's a long weekend coming up. I know I'm going to want to post for that. So upcoming long weekend, do a post. Maybe it's in progress. And then you can also figure out how much money you want to put towards it for an ad. I will talk more about that in a moment. Lastly, recycle your content. If you posted something 6 months ago, nobody's going to realize that you're reposting it. We did an interview with our incubator coordinator, Melissa, in November that did very, very well. So I re-uploaded it for this next one and just edited it to make sure that like we weren't saying the wrong dates or anything. It's okay. Reuse it. That way, like you're not exhausting yourself. Make sure that they're well spaced out, of course, like don't do it back to back. But it's okay to reuse clips, reuse content. Flanders Eats talked about how, she goes to all these restaurants and she films all the restaurants. And then what she'll do is that she'll do like top 5 patio restaurants to go visit. And she'll just take a clip from each one and put them together into one great video and recycles her content that way. Mistakes and imperfections are your strength. This is a great example from the Sudbury Artisan Collective where they had a window that got smashed. Very unfortunate. And here they showed, this is what happened. We have to close. We're so sorry. 444 likes. They could have not said anything. They could have not posted anything. They could have just said, hey, we're closed due to unfortunate circumstances. Sure, that's fine. Here they decided, no, we're going to share. This is what happened. And they got tons of support. And then they even followed up with it with this beautiful painting of never let the bastards get you down. Here we make our own sunshine. And they turned it into something beautiful. This is a wonderful example of mistakes, imperfections can actually get you engagement if you do it in the right way. Managing comments. So this is something that you want to do, especially if it's like if you're having like a contest or a lot is going on. Do reply to comments. People get really excited when their comment didn't just sit there, but they actually got some engagement. Even if that's a like or a like, thank you so much, it's a nice thing to do. Listen to feedback. If they're saying they're not happy or there's something not quite right, that's okay. You're finding out from your audience what isn't working. If it's a miscommunication from the customer, educate them if you need to. And you go, I'm so sorry to hear that. Just so that you know, we do take our time to make sure this. That's fine. As long as it's done in the most polite, respectful way, don't get defensive. Delete a comment if you have to. It has happened even with us that we get racist comments on Facebook, on posts, or they assume things about our entrepreneurs, and we will go in and just delete those. They're hurtful, they're harmful. We don't want our entrepreneurs to be seeing that people are saying these negative comments. So to protect our account and also just, have rules, we delete anything that is insulting, racist, sexist. We have our rules. You can do the same. And then showcase the positive. When you have comments that are saying, great job, you guys killed it, this is awesome, that's a testimonial. Use that positivity as a testimonial. You can showcase it, put that quote on your website. It's really good. Don't get defensive or attack. It's not going to give you the results that you want. People are not going to like band behind you and be like, yeah, like you get them. No, just educate if needed, delete if needed. Don't take it personally. It's not an attack on you. It might feel like it's an attack on your business. And we all know your business is like your baby. You would like die for it. But just understand this is this one person's perspective on it. Don't take it personally. Also, don't turn off comments. I don't like seeing posts that have turned off comments. It feels like a way of saying we don't want to hear what you're saying or we don't care what you're saying. If you have a post that's politically sensitive or so, and you're trying to get something out there, then like, yeah, maybe consider it. But in the most part, it's a little bit discouraging. It kind of gives a bit of a wrong impression, so I don't recommend it. Okay, participating in trends, optional, is not for everybody. If this is something that doesn't fit with your brand, like let's say a lawyer, maybe participating in trends isn't fit for you, just as an example. If you do want to participate, this is a great way of doing it. Copy as closely as possible. Fonts, layout, sound, and theme. So here we have the example of that trend of the millennial versus Gen Z marketing. You can see how the styles are very, very similar. There's small little differences, but the layout is always the same. The idea is always the same. Put your own twist on it. Find a way to make it about you. So here, people did like their coffees and showed examples of the millennial versus Gen Z, but all with their own drink about their own business. Stay true to your brand. If it fits, go for it. If the trend is a little bit outside of your scope, it doesn't fit with your brand, skip it. Don't worry about it. The other thing is that if you do see a trend, you want to participate, you're able to put your twist and it stays true with your brand, post it as soon as possible. Trends are very, very short. They last for a very short amount of time, so you want to join in before it's too late. And then I'm just going to check if I have any comments from you guys before I continue. Oh, how to delete someone else's comment or review on Facebook. This is great. So you can go on the comment. There should be like three little dots or so, or it might even just say delete. Go ahead and do it. Like I said, I've done it a number of times. It's all good. No one's going to be hurt from it. It's just a way of protecting yourself. If it's a review, be careful that like if it's a review and they don't have the right idea, like maybe there was a miscommunication, that's where you can go ahead and educate them. Say, we're so sorry to hear that you had that experience, be respectful, and then educate. If you get reviews on Google that you're not happy with, same idea, educate, don't get defensive, don't attack, don't make it into something bigger than it needs to be. Say your piece, move on. It's one person, one bad experience. We can do our best to fix it, but we can't always change people's minds. Some people just have the negative experience and that's it. Okay, I'm glad you're all still here. I was like, I know we're going over time, but I'm glad a lot of you have stayed. So let's keep going. We're starting to get towards the end of it. And then if you have questions, put them in the chat. You can start putting them in the chat now and I'll read them over. So now, how to make boring content fun. Boring content could be associated with we're closed for today. Like just stuff that isn't fun. We have posts like that where sometimes I have to do. Here's our next webinar. Might not be the most fun post of today we're going to talk about AI. So think about how you can make it a little bit more engaging. This is where focus a lot on the copywriting and what visual you're bringing to it. And this is where I really like having this graph. It kind of gives you good ideas to where you want to sit. So nobody wants to be reckless and doing things inappropriate. It damages your brand. You don't want to be unclear or not specific or easily misunderstood. No impact. Disconnected, stereotypical, not great. What I see a lot of people falling under is the routine. So it's recognizable, it's good, but it's expected, it's safe, it's fine. That becomes the brand wallpaper. It's the kind of like, yeah, it's good to know, but like it doesn't add anything really new. Try to at least get into just original. You don't need to become iconic and change the world and be revolutionary. That's hard to do. But just try to kind of fit like, okay, is this routine like it's kind of just safe and fine? Or can we push it just a little bit further? An example for the webinars, I post when the next webinar is. That will be routine. It's always kind of like a little bit of the same thing. I try to zhuzh it up by having a picture of the speaker, by having some information, having a fun background. My captions are expressive. So I try to make routine maybe just a little bit better. But I go into original when I then make reels to remind people about the webinars. So I could very easily just put a post up, or like repost my webinar poster and say, don't forget. But instead, it's, well, that's boring. That's not fun. They've already seen this poster. How am I going to make this different and catch new people's eyes? Do a reel. Do something a little bit different. So for instance, a few weeks ago, we did a webinar with Nickel Refillery about helping businesses go green or be a little bit more green. So routine, posted about the webinar. Original, did a video about how in the spring with all the snow melting, you start to see all the garbage come up and how businesses can help reduce that number of waste. That's a little bit more fun. It's a little bit more expressive. That's a good way of making your boring content a little bit more interesting. Social media ads. Big question. People want to know how much they should be spending. I can't tell you how much you should be spending, but I can tell you how to spend your money wisely. So, step one, what should you boost? What should go out there? I like to recommend event announcements. So here, Crosscut Mother's Day pop-up. Here you can see it's an ad. It's been boosted. It's an event. Whoops. That's what you would want. Events are great. any new services or new products. And if you're hiring, you can boost hiring opportunities. It's not unallowed. Do it. It's a great way to get it out. Boosting makes it so that people who are not following you will see it. So it's a good way of just getting it out there. But to do it smartly, set up an audience. So to do a post, sorry, to boost a post, you have to do it through Meta. Meta owns Facebook and Instagram. So if you have an account on both and you want to post on both, you do it through Meta. You can do it individually, but Meta just makes it easier. Set an audience. So I have one set for the Business Incubator program. And I can set this to our location with a 30-mile radius. And the minimum age is always 18. But at least I can kind of set the location. That's what's really good. If your services are, let's say, specifically for elderly, you can change that minimum age to a little bit higher. Then you want to set your schedule and the amount. So let's say your Mother's Day event ends on Mother's Day. Don't run your ad continuously or past that date. Just stop it so that it stops like maybe the day before Mother's Day. That's where you'll set how long it is, and then you can set the amount. The amount will determine basically how far it'll spread. If I don't select an audience and I just do, advanced audience or people who you choose through targeting, my result here in impressions will often be lower because it's more generic. If I'm more specific, my impressions will actually go higher and it's more focused on our location. So the people who are seeing it through the ad, I know are people in our location. They're not going to be people in Alberta. It's going to be people in our radius. So it's a lot more helpful. Make sure here, $8 is not $8 total. It's 7 times 8. So this is where you'll see your total budget, and then you can see how much money you put for how long will result in how much. Again, I can't tell you how much to spend. I can't tell you how much we spend, but this is how you would be using that amount effectively. Some alternative to ads, because not everybody has the budget or wants to go down that line, is doing the collaboration posts. So like when I posted the webinar with Tuco's, I asked, can we do it as a collab post? That way it's on both of our accounts. So then I'm less thinking about boosting it as an ad and more going, well, it's gonna be with Tuco's and Tuco's has a huge audience, so that might just be enough. Share on Facebook groups, free, right? You're downtown, post on downtown Sudbury. You're doing gardening, post on a gardening community tab, whatever. Go into those groups. They're people who you know are already interested in your industry. Group chats, a lot of international students will have these huge group chats to coordinate and help each other, especially with rides. If you are part of one, it's a great way of saying, hey, by the way, my business can help you guys with this, this, this. There's a lot of student groups, so if you're doing tutoring or engaging with students, try to see if you can get into some of those group chats. For instance, Makers North is a huge like Sudbury market that they do, I think, 3 or 4 times a year. They have a group chat with all their makers. So if you have an opportunity for a market or for an event where you need vendors, that's a good group chat to try to get into. For any major announcements, grand openings, and expansions, invite the media. See if you can get an article in the news. That way, it's just another little thing that you can do. When I worked at nonprofits, this was our biggest way of getting the word out there was by inviting the media and then doing interviews because that way we were able to get in on other platforms without having to spend a cent. Encourage word of mouth. Word of mouth is a lot more powerful than we realize, mostly because we trust our friends. So if your friend tells you, hey, you should try this versus a stranger online, you're more likely to listen to your friend. So encourage that word of mouth. Like even yesterday, I got my tires changed and he was like, bring me more clients, spread the word. And I was like, I got you, man. It's a good way of getting people to come. Reach out to Sudbury Share accounts. There's a few accounts, especially on Instagram, like Sudbury Handpicked, Sudbury Tourism, that will share events and share vendor opportunities and so on. Message them, DM them, see if they will share your event and your business. Why not? And then attend events and make those purchases as easy as possible. So here's an example. You're a photographer. You're new and you're looking for clients. You're having a hard time finding people. So you think, I would like to attend maybe a market or an event. But how would people engage with your business aside from, having a table and a portfolio and so on? You can't, you're kind of more just sharing information, but it's really hard to engage when you're doing photography because how would you get them a picture or so on? Makes it difficult. So make it really easy. My idea for a photographer would be go to an event, bring a Polaroid camera, and say $1 portraits, $1 headshots, $1 group pictures, things like that. Make it super, super cheap. And then you take the picture, you're engaging with the customer, you're chatting them up. Hey, by the way, we do this, this, this. And it's a Polaroid. So it prints off immediately. On the back, I wish I had a Polaroid with me. On the back, it's not white, it's like the film. So see if you can get a sticker with your business on it. Slap that sticker on the back of the Polaroid. Now that person's going to go home with a picture of them and their kids and your business on the back. Super easy. The only expenses you'll have to make is buying the film. And then after that, like you have a way to engage with customers at an event. You're making purchases really easily. You're helping them remember you by giving them like a memorial, yeah, by giving them an experience. That is a great way of doing things. If your business can't do that, see if you can give demonstrations, show people how you do things. Like if you do hair and makeup, see if there's a way where it's like, oh, look, sit in my seat and I'll give you a free 5 to 10 minute like consultation. Great ways of engaging with people and making it really accessible. My only advice is make sure that you can set it up quickly. So if you have to go from like one client to another, make sure that your setup between the two isn't like 10 minutes. You want it to be quick. So you have a client come, they sit down, you do your thing. You don't take 10 minutes to clean up before you get the next person. Try to make it as fast as possible because once you start getting people coming, it's going to be busy. Analytics, the last chapter. We're almost there. So again, analytics is not just for big accounts, it's for everybody. Why it matters is it's a way of evaluating your strengths and your weaknesses. You're seeing what people are enjoying, what are they engaging with, and what not so much. Don't think that the content that they're not engaging with isn't important. It might just could be better done in a better way. Don't abandon it, but it's definitely like a bit of a like red light of, hey, this isn't doing as well. Let's find a new way. It helps predict next year's busy and slow seasons. Because if, let's say, for us with application season, I know application season, we're going to get a lot more people on our website. So I'm able to predict next round, this is what's going to happen. I'm ready for it. And then you see what gets you the most engagement, right? What kind of posts are getting the most comments? And then you can evaluate that. Look, cons is high engagement doesn't always equal more clients. Just because your post is doing really, really, really well doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get more sales. That's because while they might really enjoy the content, there's a lot of other barriers that could be keeping the client away. Price, location, they're busy, they're on vacation. It's not a service for them, but they enjoy the content. So don't take it really as like a one for one. There's a lot of reasons why somebody might not make a purchase or just might not make a purchase yet, but you're still in their mind so that 6 months later, when they are in need of your service, they remember you. The other thing is low results can be disappointing. Let's be honest. Like you see a post, you worked really hard, you think it did really well, and it got like 2 likes. Yeah, it's not fun. It's disappointing, especially in the beginning when you're growing your accounts. Don't take it personally. It's a stepping stone towards creating a better business. Here's an example of something that I do every month. I fill this in every single month on the last day because some social media spots, I think LinkedIn, you only get 30 days of data. After that, it expires. So I put an email reminder on the last day of every month to know I have to do my analytics. So I think I'm doing mine on Friday. So here's an example of Facebook and Instagram where I would have January, we had this many followers. 42 of them were new compared to December. So now I see, okay, how are our accounts growing? How many people are interacting with our content? And what is the most popular content? What's the one thing that did the best? So here I can see that it's a lot of product spotlights and events. So I know that this content does well. I'll see in April, like, whoa, 592 is our highest number in all these months. Why is that? Was that post a little bit special? Was there something going on? Now I can go investigate and go, why did that month do better than the last? Instagram, your numbers will be different. So maybe your Instagram page is growing a little bit faster, maybe a little bit slower than Facebook, but your engagement is really, really high. Like your interactions are really, really high. And then you can evaluate, okay, Facebook is really good for this, Instagram is really good for this. We can see how they're growing, we can see how they're shifting. With that, don't forget about your website. Look at the analytics for socials, but look at them on your website too. So here, like a big thing for us is, like I said, whenever we have applications, our website numbers go up by like 1,000 because a lot more people are going on it to view the applications. So I know that that'll be busier. Here I'll have like visits and new users. So people who have never been on the website before who are joining in. Helps me know how much we're spreading out. What channel are they? Oh, sorry. Main channel is how are they finding it? So a paid social media post means that a boosted post got them there. Direct means that they looked it up themselves. And then I'll have the most popular pages. Oftentimes it'll be your homepage, but if you're a store, it'll probably be your online store. It might be your services. It might change. So maybe your service page becomes more popular in April because you've announced new services. So now everybody's going to go take a look. So then you see, okay, we announced this, it resulted in this. Google also, if you have a Google business account, will also give you analytics. So you'll be able to see how many people viewed it, how many people called you through Google, how many people looked up directions, and website clicks. Directions is really fun because if you move locations, you'll see it skyrocket because now everybody's looking up where you are now. So it's just like these neat little things. And then the calls, if you have a post that says, call us today for a chance to win, whatever, whatever, like the radio, you'll see your calls go up. Okay, summary. Create your account, pick the right platform for your demographic, and set up your profile the right way. Put the right information in the right columns. Define your tone. Decide on how formal and fun you'll be, and then tailor to that platform. LinkedIn, Instagram, very different. You don't want to post it exactly the same. You might change it a little bit. What to post? Post the must know information, hours, location, services. And then work on building your engagement and planning your content. See if you can schedule stuff like candidates coming up. If you're announcing something for candidate, see if you can schedule that ahead. Ads, pick the right content to boost and think outside the box. You don't have to do an ad, but you want to do it smart and you want to find maybe alternatives sometimes. And then analytics, analyze every month, learn from your strengths and your weaknesses. Don't take it personally. Use it as a tool, right? It's there to help you grow. That is it. If you have any questions, put them in the chat right now. I'm going to read them all. If you want more of a one-on-one and to chat directly with me, my email is right here. We can actually book a marketing consultation where we just talk about your marketing. If that's something that interests you, email me. Or you can even DM me on Instagram. I'm the one that manages the accounts. So if you send me a message, I'll be the one to comment. So that's another way of doing it. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and now we can talk. Okay. Um, yes, I will absolutely share the presentation with you. Um, yes, and I will also share, I forgot about this. I will also share, I have a very generic social media planner template that I can send to you. That way, if you guys want to start planning content, but you're not sure where to start, it's just an empty template, but it'll help you start putting in your numbers, putting in your ideas, and brainstorming. I use mine so that I know every Thursday I post about the next webinar and I make sure I have it on every calendar, even in January, so that I already have an idea as to what I need to be working on. It's my way of organizing myself and a reminder so that when I'm working on my content, I go, okay, what needs to go up next week? What can I schedule ahead? Oh, this, I can schedule ahead. This one I have to wait for the event to actually be over. Or this, I need a testimonial, I need a quote, I need to organize an interview, and then I can plan ahead, right? Because now I'm thinking, okay, I need an interview. Who am I interviewing? What do I need? How much time am I going to need to edit so that it's ready before the deadline? Um, can you consider a workshop on Canva equivalent or designing logo, promotional image, and poster? Absolutely. Thank you for your feedback. Yes, that is something we can totally do. I kind of wanted to see with you guys if that was something that you'd be interested in. And then if you can tell me too, if there's anything specific, because I know like logo is kind of one thing, promotional images is another. So do you want both? Do you want one more than the other? And are there any like specifics that you're struggling with? Come tell me. For now, if you guys have any questions, put them in the chat. Let me know. I'm just kind of going through the previous ones. Oh, I have problems taking photography and B-rolls. Okay, so one of the things I notice the most, even with myself, is just remembering to take pictures. So put some time aside in your schedule. See, like, block off like 3 hours and say, I'm going to work on just doing this. When it comes to products, you want to set up like a table with like, look at the pattern of the table. Is it a nice wood? Is it dirty? Are there cracks in it? If there are, skip that. Find a better one. I have seen people go to stores with their products and find like a display and put it on the display, take a picture and take it off just to get the picture. If you want to do that, feel free. But really, it's just about setting up kind of like a little spot that has like a nice setting, a nice little background. Some people use like freaking cardboard just to make a little background for it and they place their products. And then it's just about the lighting. Use a flashlight, use a lamp to kind of like move it around and get that. For B-roll, if it's a product, try to get shots of using the product. If it's makeup or lotion, do it on your hand. Like you don't necessarily have to show your face, but doing it on your hand, giving a demonstration. And B-roll is something I usually stress about, but I'm realizing more and more how like it's not that big of a deal. It's better to have more B-roll than none at all. And what you're showing, just try to show the value, right? So at the Baby Expo, it's a great example. At the Baby Expo, people are there not to be filmed. So I made sure to try to keep my camera angles to hide people. I only show the owners and what they're allowing me to view. Like if they had a kid in the video, I'd go, is it okay if your kid is on the video? Yes, no, and then go from there. And then that helped me plan out, where are my angles, what are my shots. Try to get their logos, try to get content, but keep it snazzy. People are really focused on the us, they want to see us. So if you can, try to do like products, a demonstration. A demonstration is really nice, and then that can be used as B-roll. Do a voiceover of the B-roll, which again, you can take your phone, talk into the phone, and that's your recording. And then when you go to edit, you just extract the audio from the video. They usually have a button that does it. And then just delete the video and then you're good. Like that's it. So that's a good way of kind of working with that. Um, I would suggest both, only to avoid using AI, which is also not good. I love the product photography. Yeah, so we could definitely talk about that further. I think product photography is actually a pretty common issue, so I might look into that, and pulling that into a webinar as well, so we can kind of give you guys some advice on how to do that. Um, what else? Okay, last few questions because I know like we've already gone over time by quite a bit. I knew this presentation was going to be lengthy, but I didn't think it'd be this much. And then yeah, and then if you want to chat with me one-on-one, you can go on our website. On the front page, it'll say book a consultation, and then you'll see there's all these services listed, and one of them will say marketing consultation. There's only two people. It's me and my coworker Mel. We do the marketing consult, so you can pick one of us, and then we can chat and kind of delve more into your business, your accounts, where you're at so far, and where you want to be going. I also have a list of local businesses and entrepreneurs who give more guidance that will really like go thorough. They'll even make content for you and create a package and everything. If that's something you're interested in, I can also share those with you. Some are more affordable than others, so shop around if you need the help and then keep going. Oh, thank you, Dee. It was an amazing presentation. Looking forward to similar ones like this. And the website one, which was tailored for newbies and solopreneurs. Yes, absolutely. If you want, when I share you all the YouTube link, I can add a link to the website one because they're really good to have. They're really like those basic beginner ones. And then I will look into scheduling a Canva tutorial. But for now, I think I'm gonna let you guys all go. Like I said, we already went over time. If you have more questions, feel free to just message me on Instagram or Facebook, whichever you prefer, and then we can talk a little bit further then. And if you want to do a virtual meeting, we can do that too, and we'll chat. But I hope this was helpful. I tried to be really thorough, but also really beginner friendly. I'll share it all with you. And aside from that, have a great day. It's a beautiful day outside. If you're going to the Business Excellence Awards tonight, hosted by the Chamber, I will be there with my team. Feel free to come say hi. And after that, just have a great day. It's going to be a beautiful summer. Don't forget, we have some really great events that are coming up in June, some of which you have to get tickets ahead of time. So if you want to, get them now because they're going to sell out like tomorrow. With that, I'm just going to hope you all have an excellent day. Have a good summer, and I'll see you all at the next one. Bye.